Hello, Anytime here. Today I'll show you the recap of a 2013 anime titled Garden of Words. Spoiler alert, watch out and take care. This 15-year-old, Takao Akizuki, talks about himself as he walks to the train station. It's June. He enters the bus to school. However, he likes the rain, and whenever it rains, he enjoys skipping school. That's the first day of the rainy season in their city, Kanto City. He comes out of the bus, pulls out his umbrella, and walks under the rain. He finds himself at a park where he sits beside a 27-year-old lady. For the first time seeing each other, they didn't talk at all. Takao uses his free time to sketch some of his shoe ideas and draw pictures. He notices the woman bringing alcohol and chocolate and wonders what kind of person she is. His eraser falls, and this lady picks it up for him. He feels he's met her before, so he asks if they have met before. She replies otherwise, and he apologizes for his mistake. As the lady attempts to leave, she leaves him with a verse of tanka, which says, "A faint clap of thunder, clouded skies, perhaps rain comes. If so, will you stay with me?" Takao didn't understand the words, so he wrote them down. He leaves for home and prepares a meal. His elder brother enters the house. He drops the food he brought and asks about their mother. Takao tells him their mother has left the house, but she left them with a letter. Takao suggests they should attempt to find their mother, but his brother insists their mother will find her way back home when she fights with their boyfriend. While he eats with his brother informs him he's parking out of the house to stay at the place he rented with his girlfriend. Takao immediately figures his mother leaving the house is because she didn't want his brother to leave and speaks to his brother about it. Still, his brother says they are no longer kids, and their mother's youthful look is deceiving her into thinking she's still young. After the meal, Takao starts building the female shoe he has been trying his hands on. As his brother prepares to enter his room, he gives his brother the sheet on which he wrote the verse of tanka, but his brother doesn't understand. The next day is sunny, so he cannot skip school. He goes to school and wonders why he's attending school. He aspires to be a shoemaker and nothing more. He returns home after school. The next day is another rainy day. He runs out of the house to meet a random woman at the park again. This time around, they have a short conversation. She asks him if it's a school holiday, and he replies otherwise. He tells her he's skipping school, and she also chips in that she's missing work. He advises her that she shouldn't drink alcohol before eating, so she tells him she has some snacks and brings out some chocolate. She asks him if he thinks she's weird by her choices, and says she's just a human with a different personality. As the rain stops, Takao prepares to leave for school, so the lady bids him goodbye and tells him they will meet the next time it rains. Throughout the summer, he meets with this lady at the park and they get used to each other. He shares his food with her, and one day, she brings him food too. It's time for him to take his examination. He didn't want to further his education as he aspired to be a shoemaker. He talks with this random woman about his aspirations. She asks him if he's working towards it, but he tells her he isn't that good at the moment. The day she brings her meal, the meal doesn't taste well, and they both talk about it. Upon getting home that day, this lady kept thinking about him. She calls her ex-boyfriend, and they talk about her addiction to alcohol and chocolates. She tells him she's getting better from the addictions, and he comments about her friendship with a random man at the park. He says the friendship is having a great impact on her. The next day is a rainy day, so she goes to the park where she peeps at Tako's drawings. She gives him a book about shoemaking, and Takao is excited. He tells her he's working on a female design, and he isn't getting the design well, so she pulls off her shoes and drops her leg for him to measure. After the measurement, she climbs on his drawing book so he can draw her feet. They don't know much about each other as they have never formally introduced themselves. Takao comments that he doesn't know anything about this lady, not her age, nor name, and why she carries herself with that much pain. Yet, he's charmed by her. Unfortunately for them, the summer ends faster than expected. Takao had no reason to visit the park, and this lady missed him. Anytime she visits the park, she hopes to see him, but she's also happy that he's now attending classes. She will visit the garden alone, and she continues her habits of drinking beers and eating chocolates. As for Takao, his brother eventually moves out with his girlfriend. He visits them to the park in his load, and before leaving, his brother's girlfriend asks him to wait. He refuses to stay, as he has to go for his part-time job. As he leaves, his brother's girlfriend comments about him and says she likes the shoes he makes. It's summer break, and instead of enjoying his summer, Takao spends all his time doing part-time jobs. as he knows that buying equipment for his aspiration isn't cheap. He misses this woman, but he doesn't know how to contact her, so he decides to make her a show. It's September, and school is officially resuming again. He continues school optimistically, and on his first day of resumption, he meets with his friends. As they talk, a female teacher walks beside them, and his friend Sato runs after her. The teacher is Miss Yukari, his Japanese literature teacher, and the mystery woman Tako has been meeting in the park. As Sato greets Yukari and they leave, his friends talk about how some senior students have made Yukari a subject of gossip and have made life miserable for her. As a result of how Yukari feels, she decides to resign. As Tako hears this story, he asks the senior student and walks up to the girl named Aizawa. He asks Aizawa if she knows the impact of what she has done on Yukari, but Aizawa replies she doesn't care about old hags. Tako hits Aizawa, and Aizawa's friend hits him back. They laugh at him for falling in love with an old hag and say that they saved him from what he could have encountered from Yukari. After taking the beating, he walks to the park and meets Yukari standing in a boat in the middle of the water. He greets her with a complete version of the Japanese tansu she told him the first time they met, and tells her, a faint clap of thunder, even if the rain comes not, I will stay together with you. She asks him if he didn't recognize her before, and says everyone in the school knew about her as the weird Japanese teacher. As they talk, there's a loud clap of thunder, the rain starts heavily, and they're both stranded in the middle of the water. He protects her from the breeze till they find their way to the park. As the rain reduces a little, she takes him home. She gives him clothes to change into, and offers him coffee while he cooks for her. She helps him iron his clothes too. Tako says to himself that this moment of his life is his happiest moment ever. He summons the courage and tells Yukari he loves her. She corrects him that her name is Miss Yukari, and she's relocating to her hometown, Shikoku. Tako angrily picks up his clothes, changes them back into his clothes, and proceeds to leave her house. As he steps out, Yukari remembers her memories with him. She realizes her mistakes and runs after him. As she catches up with him, he angrily tells her he doesn't love her, and what he said earlier was just a mistake. He says he hates her, and he hates the day he met her. He accuses her of being that secretive and says she purposely pretended not to know him so she could hear all about him. He accuses her of listening to his visions just for her to mock him. Rather than responding, she walks toward him and hugs him in tears. She tells him she had always felt she couldn't walk alone, and she stayed at the park to practice how to walk, but he saved her. Following their makeup, Yukari travels to Shikoku as promised, while Tako continues his studies. According to him, he barely passed his final exams, and he spent his whole summer break working so he could afford his equipment. He keeps practicing his vision and hopes to get better at it. Ending the movie on a snowy day, Tako goes to the park alone and reads a letter sent to him by Yukari. After reading the letter, he brings out the pair of shoes he made for her and comments that he has realized he's also learning to walk. He says he's on his path, and one day, his way will take him to Yukari. Thank you for watching the recap. Kindly subscribe to our channel to get notified when we post the next recap. See you next time.